All right, rock and roll. So, obviously, I think almost every real estate agent at some point in their career starts to really think about getting serious about like upgrading their technology, right? And getting some tools that will help them sell more business and be more efficient. And the CRM being obviously a huge part of that technology package that an agent needs if they really want to scale their business eventually. Why listen to me and us we at JP Woolman Realty talk about this? Well, I in particular coach quite a number of agents on their marketing. And so that oftentimes strays into the CRM side of things, because one of the ideal uses of CRM is to be able to do scalable marketing and get more marketing insights. I also manage JP Woolman Realty's Hubspot account, which is the way that we track a lot of things about our agents, but also the way that we market ourselves externally and do recruiting. We send out the newsletter that many of you get a couple times a month to pretty much all the agents in the area. And that just focuses on providing value to agents. Rising tide raises all ships is what we believe. And so I have done an extensive amount of research into CRMs. I've talked to a lot of agents about the CRMs they're using. Quite a bit of that feedback and insider information is what we have compiled and we'll be sharing later today. But I also have, like right now, very intimate experience with evaluating and choosing a CRM, because JP Woolman is actually in the process of choosing a CRM to provide to our agents, CRM and website technology package, which is news to the JP Woolman agents that are on the call, I would bet, because we're still in the process. But I am currently going through this process with the other staff members here. So I'm in the thick of it, and I want to teach you all some of the things that we are discovering as we go through what is a very complicated process. So today's agenda, first, we're just going to cover some things at a high level, the important things. First off, do you even need a CRM? And then how to identify your needs. If you do need CRM, what are the key needs, things you need to get out of a CRM, which is the first step in starting to research and evaluate. Give you some of the tips that we found to make that process easier and make sure you end up with the right system. And then we're going to do rapid CRM reviews, which is basically kind of a quick rundown of the pros and cons and what each CRM system is best for. We're going to cover quite a few pretty quickly, hopefully just to give you a general overall idea of what the different popular CRMs are out there. Obviously not covering all of them, but also give you a website you can go to that covers most of the CRMs and reviews them that are available to agents. So the first question, do you even need a CRM? And I start a lot of webinars with this kind of a question, just like, should you even worry about this stuff? Like whatever it is that we're teaching on, like marketing on LinkedIn or whatever it is, Google Ads, whatever it is. Because I actually believe the answer to this question when applied to almost all marketing technology for a lot of agents is actually, no, don't spend your time on it. I think there's specific criteria that agents should meet before it's really worth it for them to even bother using a CRM. I'll get into that into a second. But I think one of the top things that I see when I'm coaching agents that holds them back is just, agents are independent contractors. You're surrounded by lots of agents that are doing different types of strategies for their business, different amounts of experience, different technology packages. It's a huge industry for services and technology to be sold to. So agents are constantly hearing from other agents and companies that they need to be doing something. You need to be doing TikTok videos. You need to get a CRM. You need to be doing email marketing that's automated. And you hear all these things, and you're basically trying to get a bunch of stuff pushed on you by salespeople and marketing, right? So it can be very distracting. And I think not even having a CRM is the right solution for quite a number of agents. And so let's talk about it. I think before anyone even tries to graduate up to using a CRM, first you should be using a spreadsheet. Hopefully you all have spreadsheets, but you'd be surprised at how many agents, newer agents in the first couple years of their business, I talk to them because we do email marketing strategies for our agents, help them with that. How many of them don't have a spreadsheet with all their contact info in it? So if you can't use a spreadsheet, you can't effectively use a CRM, because you're going to have to upload that spreadsheet. It's going to be the core of the value you get from your CRM. So, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. If you can use a spreadsheet effectively and keep it updated to help run your business, then and only then can you effectively use a CRM. So let's just talk a little bit. You can use Excel, you can use Google Sheets. We use Google Sheets at JP Woman. So this is the format for our CRM reviews. And the first CRM we're going to quickly review is using spreadsheets. They're wildly easy to use and free. Because so many people use spreadsheets, you could Google any number of things, like how to set up a spreadsheet for real estate business, and you'll find things out there. Because the knowledge base for spreadsheets is so big, right? There's a lot of people that use different real estate CRMs, but it's not as big as the number of people who use spreadsheets, right? It's easy to access, it's easy to understand, it's easy to control. You don't have to really learn that much about Excel to be able to use it as your database or CRM. The downsides is that you don't get a lot of automation, limited features, obviously. It's not designed for real estate. You're going to basically have to build it yourself. And ideally, you kind of need a good template for your spreadsheet that's going to function as your CRM or your database. For it to work. This image that you see here is an image of the template of the spreadsheet database that we provide our agents to. You can see there's lots more columns and other sheets that all tic-tac-toe up into the data, but basically allows you to put all the information about everybody in your sphere in there, mark them as different types of leads, mark them as a category in your sphere, and then keep track of their transactions as well. And it all rolls up with some automation that we have built in. I think newer agents should all start out using a spreadsheet. It's part of our Engage training. It's what we teach agents right out of the bat. Use a spreadsheet, really good at your spreadsheet. And I believe it is a necessary stepping stone to use any other CRM. And it's kind of like that, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. If you can use a spreadsheet effectively and keep it up to date, only then are you going to be the winning, be able to graduate and become a really baller agent who uses a CRM. Right? That's when you're coming out of the mist of your business and it's growing to an extent that you're ready to actually pay money for a system to help you manage your contacts and your relationships. So you graduate to a CRM when you grow out of spreadsheets. I think you have to start in spreadsheets every time. So here's those criteria I was talking about. I need a CRM if I'm an agent who focuses mostly on my sphere and I have more than 500 contacts. Maybe at 300 contacts, you might start thinking about it a little bit. But here's the reality of the way we know. NAR does a study every year about buyer and seller tendencies. And so we know from those studies that the average person who's of home buying and selling age does a real estate transaction about once every decade. So let's say you have 500 contacts in your sphere, right? Divide by 10 to get your number of people from that sphere that are then going to be active in real estate in any given year. 50. Now divide that by 12, and obviously more of them in the summer and the spring. But you don't have a huge number of people active in your sphere at any given time to the point where you're going to need a really fabulous system to help manage it. So you need quite a few contacts in your sphere to make a CRM even worth it. You also have to be dedicated to building playbooks and processes that you're going to follow over and over and over again for marketing and one-to-one touches. That's the whole point of a CRM, right? If you're just using it as a nice spreadsheet, a nice way to organize your contacts, you're basically wasting money because a spreadsheet can do that just about as well as a CRM. The point of a CRM is to help you build efficient processes that are automated to help you do more marketing and more effective one-to-one touches with your sphere. So you have to be ready for those things. You have to be dedicated to those things for it to really be that worth it. Now, if you're an agent who primarily manages leads, you should be doing probably, I talked to our ISAs about this a little bit. These are, our expert people that use our CRMs, a whole bunch of CRMs religiously all day long, managing leads. And they said you should probably be managing at least 10 leads a month in order for a CRM to even start making sense. Because anything less than that, and you can just do it yourself using a spreadsheet or your calendar or whatever it is that your process is. If your lead source doesn't integrate with the CRM, then you're just going to have to manually enter all of it, right? You're adding just more and more work to yourself. So that's a critical thing you need before CRM is even worth it. And then similar to your sphere, you have to be dedicated to building a playbook, right? And building processes you're going to do over and over again to market to and do one-on-one check-ins with those leads for follow-up. If not, you're not getting the value out of your CRM. So If you qualify for those things, or you're just convicted that you need a CRM, the next step in choosing a CRM is to identify your needs. And this is the process that we went through. So we created a prioritized list of what we needed in our CRM. So you're basically going to list everything that you think you need in a CRM, and then you're going to rearrange it. You can do that in Excel by like dragging rows and stuff, but rearrange it based on like deal breakers, things that like we probably should have, and things that would just be nice to have. So organize a prioritized list of your different types of needs, and we're going to go through these right now. So what are your marketing needs? These are things that are really important to know, because I guarantee you, pick a CRM. No CRMs are going to match all these needs. A lot of them are actually tailored to specific types of agents that run their business in certain ways. So they lack features that don't fit that type of use case. So you need to know what your needs are so you can evaluate and make sure you don't end up, getting a subscription to a CRM that doesn't do 30% of what you need to do in your business. So things to consider. How important is it for you to do mass emails? Newsletter campaigns, right? Maybe you're willing to run it separately in a different system. Perhaps that adds a lot of time, takes a lot of extra energy when you have multiple systems going on. So that's probably not ideal. Ideally, if you're doing newsletters, you should be doing your newsletters out of your CRM. Do you need a really robust email design tool, a nice drag and drop email design tool? Because a lot of CRMs that we've reviewed say, yes, we do email marketing. Yes, we do email campaigns. Then you go in there and you have to build it in HTML. So unless you're like an HTML coder, you can't actually use their email marketing system. Something to consider. Drips. Lots of CRMs do not have built-in drip capabilities. HubSpot, you actually have to pay like $800 a month in HubSpot to get the capability to do drip emails. So once again, and if you want to do drips and your CRM doesn't have it, you're going to have to go out and buy another software that's going to be another silo just to run your drips. Do you have ad campaigns that you're running or you want to run that need to integrate with your CRM? I'll tell you right now, if you're not integrating your ad campaigns with your CRM, you're probably wasting some money there. Do you want to do landing and squeeze pages? If your CRM can't do those for you and track those leads, not going to work. Do you have your own website already that you want to integrate with your CRM? Or do you need a website that the CRM company provides that has full integration? That's important. How much do you want to customize your website? There's a lot of CRMs that have great websites, but you can't change anything about them. They're just out of the box, and that's what you get. And then a huge one for marketing needs too is like a lot of CRMs don't integrate with Gmail or Outlook. So there's no way to log all your communication, which is the critical function of a CRM. So they can't integrate. If they can't log your one-to-one emails, they're probably not helping you very much. So lots of marketing needs. Communication needs. Some agents might want to do voicemail drops. Very few CRMs can do that. Do you want to be able to do texting and calling from your CRM so that it all logs into the system? Do you want to be able to do those things from your own phone number and not some other custom number? Those are things that a lot of CRMs don't allow, or they allow texting and calling, but it has to be from like one of their numbers. So these are things you got to consider. Do you need a CRM that will keep track of all your texting and calling automatically? Do you need a CRM that has a really high functioning mobile app? Probably. I would think you do. I think all agents should have a CRM that's a great app. Lead needs, by the way, this is a lot of information. You're going to get the recording though, so you can go back and look at it. We'll also be posting this video on our website later today, so you can just go back and watch the recap there if you need to. I'll do that nice thing in YouTube. We put the bookmarks in so you can just search to it. Lead needs. Where are your leads coming from? Make a list of that and then write out your entire lead management process, because here's the thing. If you can't integrate your lead sources with your CRM, it's going to be a massive pain. So you're going to have to manually input all your leads, which is going to make you less likely to actually use your CRM, which means it's not as worth it. If the CRM can't mirror the workflow of your leads, you better be willing to completely revamp the way you manage all your leads. A lot of times that's what happens. An agent gets into a new CRM and the CRM doesn't do task management the way an agent manages their follow-up. And so they don't use the CRM to manage their leads because the CRM's task management doesn't have the filters or the automation or the recurring scheduling that they need to actually run their business. That's a huge one. That's a big one that our ISAs talk about all the time. Like, how well does it do task management? And then what are your workflows? That's very similar to task management, but If you do email and text follow-ups, does your CRM have the capability to do email and text follow-ups for leads and contacts, those sorts of things? And then the last thing that people don't think about, but you've heard me mention it across the board, across all these needs, is like you need to know what your CRM should integrate with. Because I'll tell you right now, we've reviewed a lot of CRMs and almost every single one of them doesn't integrate with at least one of these things. Does your CRM integrate with Gmail and GCal? If not, you're just creating silos. Does it integrate with your website? Will it integrate with Zillow or other listing sites you're getting leads from? Does it integrate with Facebook and Google campaigns you're running? And then lastly, but also very important, does it integrate with your transaction system? Does it integrate with like .loop or SkySlope or whatever you're using? Because if not, then you're not using your CRM to manage all the way through transactions. You're just using it to manage leads, basically. So a lot less value. A lot to consider. Remember, write down your needs, which will basically be a subset of these lists that I just shared with you. Prioritize them so that when you go to research CRMs and evaluate them, you know what you're looking for. A lot of times what people do, it's the same thing. Like when you start planning a trip or when you're going to buy a house, what are the first things you do? The first things you do are you start dreaming, right? Oh, my camera ran out of focus. Let me see if I can fix that. Keep it too dark in here, maybe. There you go. You start dreaming, right? You start looking for houses for sale and like looking for hotels and resorts to stay at. Before you start actually like figuring out what you need. This is your business, not your leisure life, right? Don't go and get on a CRM demo before you have any clue of what you need. If you know what you need, you're going to waste way less time listening to people's sales pitches. So let's talk about some tips for evaluating and researching CRMs. WhoQuest.com. WhoQuest. It's a goofy name. I don't know why they picked it. This is a phenomenal website because they have reviews of CRMs, real estate technology platforms, website companies, all that kind of stuff. They go pretty in depth. I think they get kickbacks from some of this stuff, but it's still a pretty good source of just being able to get like really quick top level information on pricing, some pros and cons. Some of our pros and cons today are from this website actually. Start at WhoQuest, to get a list of the systems you want to look at. So that's a huge research tip. Honestly, start with WhoQuest. Make a spreadsheet. We have a spreadsheet with a lot of stuff in it that we used. It's okay. Dylan asks, is it WhoQuest? No, it's not WhoQuest. It's WhoQuest. That's not helpful. 2 O's. There you go. Maybe that works. I'll put it in the chat. You bet, Dylan. All right. So research tips. Make another spreadsheet so that you can, have a column for each platform you're looking at. And then have a row for price. Have a row for every single one of your CRM needs that are non-negotiable that you had from your other list, right? So that when you go through, you can like write notes in those, like, oh, I need to be able to do email marketing through my CRM. So HubSpot can do email marketing as a really good email marketing system, and it's free. So you can compare them side by side. That's absolutely critical. We have a spreadsheet that we use for a whole bunch of CRMs that's super long with all kinds of different like little, X's and yeses and check marks and notes on the differences between systems. Nothing to do when you're researching. Ask around. See what CRMs people like, because man, I asked a bunch of our agents and like people come out of the woodworks that are just absolute and utter fans of a system that you've never heard of before. So you might hear of some new platforms to review because someone who might have a similar business to you loves it. You have to get a free trial. We ran into quite a few companies when we were doing our research that like were very hesitant to give us a free trial of their platform, which to me is a little bit weird. But when we pushed them, they did. And it was clear once you got in there were lots of other people using it too. So get a free trial. You have to get a free trial and log in and see everything for yourself. And then after you've done all that research, after you've figured out what the gist of each system is, I would recommend getting a demo after all that stuff, right? So you're not going to waste your time listening to a sales pitch. You can spend your time on the phone with their salespeople, asking them those very specific questions about your needs that are non-negotiable and how that platform can actually help meet those needs. All right, a couple quick tips for when you're evaluating, once you've got it broken down to a few finalists for your CRM platform. Do a spreadsheet like we talked about and color code it. We went through every single thing, price, this feature, that feature, and we did like green, yellow, red stuff. So it's like this one wins, right? This one has the best email marketing system built in. It's green. This one has a crappy one, so it's red. This one is more expensive, so it's red. This one's really cheap, so it's green. So like determine the winners and the losers so that when you're going, it's basically a pros and cons list, right? When you're going down to make your decision, it's clear like, oh, this one's more expensive, but it wins in every category. Probably worth it. Weigh the costs. One thing that really good salespeople do is they try to make you over-focus on things that could be valuable to you, not things that are valuable to you. So don't get distracted by shiny new things. Don't get distracted by like, oh man, the CRM system will drive you 10 more leads a month via Google ad because of the system it has. If you never run Google ads, never managed Google ad leads, that's not actually value that you're gonna get. That's like a proposed value that you might one day get. Don't count on that. Count on how well you can use that CRM to run your business as it is running already. That's the key. Test their support. If the salespeople aren't good at communicating and aren't organized, there's a good chance that the company isn't very well managed. Maybe you just have a bad salesperson. Test their support. Go to their knowledge base. Do their little chatbot on their website. Does somebody respond right away? Go to their Facebook business page. Facebook message them. Does somebody respond quickly? Test their support. And then the last thing is, ask for advice from your peers. Ask for people at your brokerage. If you can get a CRM system that other people at your brokerage are also using, that's going to help you be able to adopt it because you can get their opinions and their tips on that system. You don't want to be the only person that uses a software system. Ideally, you have a little community around you. All right, we're moving on to rapid CRM reviews. The first one we're going to review is MailChimp, which nobody thinks about as a CRM, but MailChimp is like reinventing themselves as a CRM rather than just an email marketing company. So I know it's crazy, but hear me out. MailChimp could be the right CRM for you to use for your business because the free version of MailChimp, right? So you're not going to put any money into it, low risk. The free version of MailChimp might be enough for you to manage all of your contacts and your email marketing. You can do quite a few other cool marketing things with it too. It gives you the whole contact breakdown, that you get in any other CRM. Like you click on a contact, you can have their birthday and their anniversary and notes and everything like that right in there. MailChimp has a pretty good mobile app you can use too. And then obviously really good email marketing. The cons of MailChimp is that it's not a full-fledged real estate platform. It's not designed for real estate. It's not designed as a CRM first. It was designed as a marketing tool first that they basically flipped into a CRM. So you might need kind of a template, kind of a way to use MailChimp for your business that'll work for you. But it's pretty easy to find out and figure that out because MailChimp is the #1 email marketing tool globally used by small businesses. So if they can do it, so can you. I think MailChimp might be the right CRM for an agent that has a small sphere and they aren't doing any leads. So maybe a part-time agent. I think MailChimp might actually be a really good CRM for you to use. There's a couple of little notes there about other stuff you can do with MailChimp. It's a lot. You actually can do landing pages. You can set up some automation with it. MailChimp can actually automatically create postcards that you can send, which is cool. A lot of people don't know that. You can use MailChimp to post your social media for you. You can run Facebook and Instagram ads through MailChimp. It does a lot. You'd be surprised. Go check out the free version of MailChimp. It's free. It's a free trial. Get in there. Check it out. Might be right for you. Next one, Hubspot. This is what we use as a company to manage a crazy amount of the things that we do. HubSpot is a huge company, but they have a free version of their platform that actually is wildly powerful. You get a crazy amount of features for free. And the free version of HubSpot and MailChimp are both you get enough contacts and email sends with those two that I can almost guarantee you will not run out of contacts or email sends in any given month on free HubSpot or free MailChimp. It's 2,000 contacts and 10,000 email sends. You're using the system wrong, or you need to be on something else if you're above those limits. So try HubSpot's free version, free trial. Get in there. The pros, you get a crazy amount of power, crazy amount of tools for free. And HubSpot, because it's one of the best small business CRMs that exists, sales and marketing CRMs that exists, huge company, You know, your ability to manage contacts in there and track everything that you do is extremely robust. Track your calls, track your, well, no, not, it doesn't do texting. See, that's important. We actually just found a different vendor to allow us to do texting with HubSpot. Track your calls, track emails in HubSpot because it integrates with Gmail. So that's pretty cool. Downside of HubSpot is it's expensive to scale. The lowest tier pricing of HubSpot is affordable. The next tier up, the middle medium size, which is like what we're just edging into, is like 10x, way expensive. So it's expensive if you're planning on one day getting your business to be really huge. Like if you're trying to sell like, you know, 50 to 100 houses a year, at some point you're going to grow out of HubSpot where it's not going to be worth it. The other thing, because HubSpot's huge, you can get lost in the complexity. That's really a risk for every CRM on this list. So I think HubSpot's actually a really good option for a solo agent who has a medium-sized sphere, not huge, you know, maybe 500, 300, 400, 500 people. And you're not doing too many leads. But HubSpot, here's a list of stuff. Create landing pages, sign up forms. There's a mobile app that's phenomenal. You can put live chat that integrates with your HubSpot, create landing pages, run all your ads, integrate to Gmail, blah, blah, blah. I actually like HubSpot's email marketing tool quite a bit better than MailChimp. I think their drag and drop editor is easier to use. HubSpot's also super customizable. A lot of these other CRMs, you're kind of locked into the way they want you to do things. All right, you can see how we're building up here a little bit. We're focusing first on the sphere agents of different sizes. And after this, we're going to go and talk about CRMs for agents that use a lot more lead management. So sphere, super confusing. Sphere, because if you Google search it, you might not find the right sphere. The website is usesphere.com. We have an agent in our brokerage that uses Sphere religiously, and he is the biggest proponent of it. It was built by an agent and a team, I believe actually a team in Portland, I think is what he said. So it was built by real estate agents. They paid for somebody to basically create this software for them. So that's kind of cool, built by agents, which means that it's gonna probably fit into your work flows pretty well. This agent in our brokerage, this is his review of Sphere. They have amazing transaction management. It tracks everything, very customizable to how you wanna manage your transactions, which is pretty cool. The website and the app are very user-friendly and mirror each other, so it's really easy to use. It syncs with all of your activities, so all your interactions with people, and everything that's happening along a transaction process is all tracked and synced into the system. It's also not very expensive. I think it's like $45 a month or something. Yeah, something like that. That sounds about right. One of the cons of this is just that it's kind of a smaller company, way smaller than MailChimp or HubSpot, that's for sure. So you might run into some issues there with like their development timelines or, you know, how quickly they're going to adopt new features. I don't know about their support. I bet it's pretty good, but I haven't tested it. So I think Sphere might be better for a solo agent that has a larger sphere. The agent that in our office is using this very effectively has like 600 plus people in a sphere. Perfect fit for Sphere. Sphere, big sphere. It's kind of confusing. All right, next we're moving over to agents that are mostly focusing on leads, lead gen business. So Top Producer, everybody's heard of this company. Our ISAs who have used this platform extensively say it is amazing for task management. There are few CRMs out there that do better task management than Top Producer. So if that is really important to you, Top Producer might be the right platform for you to use. The cons are that it can be pretty clunky. They just launched like Top Producer 11 or 10 or something like that a little while ago, which is supposed to be better, but like I've heard that's still pretty clunky, and the old Top Producer was really clunky, poor user interface, kind of slow. But it's really good at doing what it does, which is transaction task management, lead follow-up task management, that kind of stuff. So Top Producer might be, you should consider it if you are managing a large volume of leads and if task-based follow-up and lead management is a key part of your business. Boomtown. Everybody knows Boomtown. Obviously, it's really good. It wouldn't be as popular and as widely used if it wasn't really good. It is phenomenal for working with teams and with lenders. There's a lot of collaborative features to it. It has a very strong integration with the Boomtown websites. And it's one of the better website CRM combinations for converting online traffic leads. So sending traffic to a website, which then converts them into leads going to your CRM. One of the best CRMs for that purpose. Quite a few cons with Boomtown too. You'll find out a lot of these lead management CRMs are actually really good in some ways and really poor in other ways because they focus their development in certain areas. So very limited customization, especially like the web, like you can barely change your Boomtown website at all. That's part of the downside of having a strong integration between the CRM and the website is that it can't be very customized. Boomtown is also wicked expensive. The notes feature in HubSpot or ISAs tell me is very poor. So if leaving notes on contacts based, like little note after you do an interaction or a touch or something, that's important to your business. Boomtown's probably not right for you. There are also quite a few important things that you would normally want to do in your system that you can't do yourself. Imports, exports, like kind of large batch changes in the system. You have to go through their support to do it. You can't do it yourself, which can be very frustrating. So we believe Boomtown is probably one of the best systems for larger teams that are managing a large quantity of leads. Pomerleau team uses a combination of Boomtown and Top Producer. Next is Chime. You've heard of it. Be careful. I pulled the wrong logo for Chime. At first, Chime is also like a financial services company. So that's where you end up. If it's got green in the logo, not the right Chime. Some of the pros of Chime is they have a very good user experience, very user-friendly to interact with the back end of the CRM, which honestly is a huge thing for adoption, especially if you're hiring younger people. It's really tough actually to hire and retain younger people in like administrative or marketing roles if the user interface of the tool they spend the majority of their time in is very poor because they're used to social media and video games and all those things where like the user experience is phenomenal. So that's important for a lot of businesses. They have good lead management tools with the tasks. You have smart plans for auto follow-up on leads. So there's some nice automation there. It's also cheaper than Boomtown, and it does quite a few of the same things. Cons, I've heard reports the tailored team uses Chime. They say there's quite a few bugs, pretty buggy across multiple parts of the system. So that could be a problem, obviously. They have some issues with their texting and calling. It's really tough to have texts and calls go from your own phone number with Chime. Might not even be possible. And they don't have as strong of marketing tools as most of the other platforms we're looking at today. So we would say that Chime is probably a good fit for a smaller team that are doing a mix of business, so getting leads from different ways and even managing some sphere deals as well. Smaller teams with a mix of business. Chime's really good for that. Next one, Placester. Placester is an interesting company because they actually, a lot of their clients are actually like big brokerages or big real estate companies who make a deal with them to provide Placester to all their agents. It's one of the ones that we are researching at JP Woolman to provide our agents with. Placester pros, it's really cheap. Like you're looking at these other platforms like Boomtown and Chime and Top Producer, like Placester is like dirt cheap in comparison. Their websites are pretty good looking, but also wildly customizable and very easy to customize. Like no coding, no tech knowledge necessary, which is a big plus if your website's a big deal to you or you're really into like website content marketing. Placester could be good for you. Their CRM is simple. It's not super feature-rich, but the benefit of that is that it's actually going to be way easier for a lot of agents to use it, right? You don't have to sort through all these different functionalities and get confused by all the things it can do. It's very simple, easy to use. They don't have a ton of marketing features. So that's actually, Placester is one of the ones where they're like talk about how they can do email campaigns and like newsletter campaigns. Then you go in there and like they don't have an email creation tool. So you'd have to like build it in HTML or import an email you design somewhere else. Very clunky. And as far as we can tell, we asked them about whether they have an app, and they don't have an app. They're like, maybe they're working on it or something. That's what every salesperson says, but no mobile app, which could be a downside. Placester could be the right platform for you to consider if you're a solo agent that has a mixed business, right? You're doing some sphere stuff and some leads and maybe doing, blogs or sending some traffic to a website. For others that we'll touch on quickly, and these are just like a couple other ones that like in my research and that just conversation with agents that I hear people talking about a fair amount. So I feel like it's worth it to just touch on these, but Follow-Up Boss is supposed to be very simple, easy to get started in it. It's also fairly spendy. and it really only does lead management. So if you want to do very much marketing and like transaction management, stuff like that, Follow Up Boss is really not the platform for you. LionDesk was just purchased by Broker Wolf, Lone Wolf Technologies, whatever that company is called. Kind of an interesting acquisition. LionDesk is supposed to be phenomenally powerful with lots of tools. It could help you potentially, like, stop paying a couple of technology vendors that you're using right now and instead just consolidate all of that to LionDesk. Because of that complexity, it's pretty clunky. Doesn't have the best user experience. Could be a downside. kvCORE, super robust feature set in both the CRM and the marketing. Lots of lead management, task management features. The downside of that is it's a little more expensive. It's better for large teams, probably. But we do like kvCORE quite a bit, the more we looked into them. And the last one, just to touch on Real Estate Webmasters. They're a company from Canada. I think they get a lot of press because their owner went on the Canadian version of Shark Tank and got some funding. They then turned down. Their websites are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Like if you work with the Real Estate Webmasters, you get one of their websites, people are going to land on and be like, oh, this is amazing. But you basically can't customize any of it. It's very templated. They're also pretty spendy, and they were one of our final few in the list that we were researching. I ended up ruling them out because their CRM is pretty clunky. It's pretty hard to navigate. There's stuff that I would think an agent would want to do at least once a week, and you have to click into a bunch of submenus and stuff's hidden in there. So not the best CRM interface. Okay, that was a lot of reviews of CRMs, a lot of tips and advice, kind of just from our experience and from the experience of our agents and the ISAs, work for the Pomerleau team, that I threw at you. Like I said, recording will be sent to you so you can review some of this stuff, because I assume when you're going into the decision-making process, you're going to want to review some of those lists of CRM needs that you're going to want to look at. But we will also post this video on our website. If you scroll to the bottom of our homepage, there's a bunch of videos and posts in there. You can click on it and go and view the stuff. But we'll bookmark it so you'll be able to just jump right to the different sections, when it does come to be time for you to make the decision about moving to a CRM or not. Thank you so much for your time.